Hey, good evening, my friends. How are you? Welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Live as I take care of something that I just remembered that I should have done a couple of minutes ago. There we go. And boom, boom, boom. How are you, my friends? Glad to have you along with us. Hello, John. Hey, Randy, I see your son was home. I bet that was a nice visit, huh? And he got to do some fishing. How cool is that? Even though he'd been fishing a lot, right? Hey, Craig, how you doing? Thank you, Greg. Greg, I noticed your comment the other night. That was very nice. I appreciate that. Beaner, how you doing? Ed, Craig, I'm going to answer your Ask Avery question here in a little bit. It's on the show this week, and I think the questions were excellent. So I'll get to that a little bit later here in the show. Love that pic of the buck in the boat with the fall colors. Wasn't that nice? Wasn't that nice? It's hard to take a bad picture the last few days, isn't it? I mean, these fall colors have been absolutely incredible. And here's my question. I've been asking this. I asked it on Instagram, and I asked it on the radio show this week as well. Why are the colors so vibrant this fall? I'm sure it's weather related, but what's the reason? Do you know the answer? If you do, post it here. I'd love to see it. Or send me an email, mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. Jesse is smoking some venison jerky tonight. Paul says good evening. Tim says good evening. Dennis says good evening. Johnny says he got rained out, but another 10-point showed up last night. Johnny Bowler, the bear whisperer, is onto some nice whitetails as well. Thank you, Jerry from Algonac. I appreciate that. Jim checking in from Tennessee. Yeah, Wednesday Night Live is something I do every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern on Facebook, YouTube, now Twitter. I'm trying to get on Instagram. No hard freeze yet. But Tim, I would consider what we had here a couple of weeks ago, I would consider that it was a hard freeze. Peak colors in the north country, but won't last long. That's true, even down here in the central part of the state. It goes very well, Steve. Thank you for acknowledging my captain's title. The Angler Quest that I was running last summer has been sold to a friend of mine. Scott Hand now owns that boat. Congrats, Scott. Good evening, Brent, my friend. How are you? Brent, have you been out hunting much? Are the boys interested? Have you had them on at all? So some things I want to talk about tonight, and we will give away some Speedy. I'm going to have to get Ed Bolanowski on here. Not the Speedy Blaze, but the Speedy, and I can't think of the name of them right now. Checking in, but you can't go. Yeah, I don't want you to get caught either, Brad. Ed, what are they called that we talked about this morning? Not the Speedy Blaze, but what are they? You've been out one time. Venison heart and mushroom sauce with rice for dinner. Ooh, that sounds good. Speedy Spark. Thank you, Ed. The Speedy Spark. We are going to give away some Speedy Sparks tonight, and I'll tell you more about what those are. Making apple pie from up north. That sounds great. Hello, Tom. How are you, my friend? Craig Plowman from Google. You work at Google now, Craig? No, I'm just kidding. Gas mic. I don't know what that means. Running out of gas at the end of the day? That part I would believe. After doing a Wednesday morning live, a 3-hour radio show, a half-hour J Sporting Goods podcast, and then editing this afternoon, by this time of the evening, I do start to get a little bit fried, and sometimes my thoughts don't come as quickly as they would, and sometimes my words don't come out as clearly as I would like. Great, Ross. How was your day? It was a great day. Anytime I can spend in the studio talking about the great outdoors is a great day. I am so blessed. Gas. Oh, I got you. Gas. Well, gas will work too, but we like the Speedy Blaze or the Speedy Sparks as well. Trees that are, here we go. Oh, from Google. Here we go, Craig. Trees that are subject to more sunlight and lower temperatures in the fall will turn darker or more brilliant colors of red or purple. From Google. Trees that are subject to more sunlight and lower temps. So cold, sunny days. Huh. Brent had a 4-point walk within petting distance of the front of my Wraith blind. Gotta love those Wraith blinds. What is today, the 14th? They were drawing over on Instagram. They were drawing the winner of the Wraith blind, and they'll announce it tomorrow. Lots of geese on my pond right now. The vibrant fall colors are from the sugars that have been trapped in the leaves, which causes the red and purple. Yeah, Bonnie, but why this year? Why this year more than normal? You got your first buck with a bow last Friday. Congrats. Hey, Josh, how are you? Somebody was asking me, where'd Tom go? Tom says, have you ever thought about pistol hunting for deer? Tom, I have not. I certainly have nothing against it. I mean, as an example, I love pistols, but I don't hunt with them. I want to take a whitetail with my recurve. That's what I want to use. Looks like the wolf and the eagle killer got into some trouble. Johnny, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Independence Day hunt. Gordo, I'm not. Wheeling 457. I know about you guys. Hey, Kevin, how are you? Hey, speaking of Kevin Rout, Predator Hunter, can I tell you real quickly who's on the show this week before we give away Speedy Blaze? Speedy Sparks. Ross says he was just reading up on that. Yeah, Jim says it's all Donald Trump's fault. Isn't everything? Please do, Ross. I'd like to see it. Okay. Coming up on the show this week, you saw the video here. If you're on Facebook, you saw the video on my Facebook page of the guys who thought they were calling in some coyotes in the UP, and it turns out it was a pack of wolves, and it wasn't hyenas. Some people said, those aren't wolves, those are hyenas. If we have a pack of hyenas in the UP, that's a whole different ballgame. We got more trouble than we ever dreamed of. It was a pack of wolves. But George Widmeyer, his crew from Savage Dog Outdoors are the guys who recorded that video. So George tells the story. And we talked to him about predator hunting in general. The guy in the eastern UP that shot 18 wolves, and not sure, but the bald eagle heard some were trapped. First I've heard about it, Johnny. 18 wolves. Well, that surpasses the old record of a mutual acquaintance of ours who shot 7. Hey, Johnny. Wow. Then Ed Bolanowski of Speedy Blaze joins me to talk about Speedy Sparks and why you should carry them in your truck, in your camper, in your trailer, in your boat, in your hunting rig, your backpack. We'll talk about that. In hour number 2, we're talking about shooting and hearing loss. This is a real problem. It's a big problem. It's a problem for me. I have lost a significant percentage of my, he was fined over $18,000. Wow. Wow. Shooting and hearing loss. It is a concern. I have lost a considerable amount of hearing over my lifetime of shooting, like when I was young, not wearing ear protection. So Dr. Stewart talks about that. Jason Garvin from the Michigan Wildlife Council. This week's Ask Avery question, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. It's from Craig Plowman. Really good questions about how do you stay legal when you're tracking a deer after dark. Excellent questions, Craig. And then Don Barnard talks about trophy muskie fishing in Michigan. Don's 2 favorite lakes were Sanford and Wixom. So now what does he do? And of course, we wrap it all up with wild game chef extraordinaire Dave Miner. I'm going to find that question right now because I really want you to hear this. Let me see if I can. Here we go. Here we go. I'll say Craig Plowman sent me this question for this week's Ask Avery segment. He says, if you shoot a deer and the tracking goes past the end of legal hunting hours, what weapons can you carry? I need to find the email version of it. I'm pulling up my email right now. He lost his license for life, 90 days in jail. Can't remember what the fine was like, but Johnny says like 32 grand. Ooh, baby. Search for I should have had this up. I'm sorry, folks. Okay. Craig's question with what weapons can you legally carry if you're tracking a deer after dark? He says any legal weapon that can be used for that species. An example would be archery season. You can't use a gun, a handgun to finish off a deer, even if you have a CPL. If you jump the deer, another question from Craig, if you jump the deer, can you legally dispatch it or do you have to wait until legal shooting hours the next day? Another excellent question, my friend. You can kill a downed and mortally wounded deer, bear, or elk using an otherwise legal method and must possess, and you may possess a loaded firearm, cocked crossbow, or bow with a nocked arrow only at the time of the kill. So you can't be walking through the woods looking for the deer with an arrow in your crossbow. I don't use the word bolt. And you can't be walking through with a loaded rifle. Craig also says, it is illegal to shine after 11 o'clock and flashlights qualify as shining devices. Does this mean you have to cease your tracking at 11 o'clock? The answer, artificial lights similar to the type ordinarily held in the hand or on the person can be used to locate or retrieve downed game. The light cannot be used to pursue or locate non-wounded game. Craig says, are the rules the same during the archery and gun seasons? Yes. Are the rules different during the quiet time, which is from November 10th to the 14th? No, the quiet time is just that. Excellent questions, Craig. Excellent questions. And we answer those all in depth in this week's. They are some great questions, aren't they? Did we ever really? Nah, I'm not even going to say it. Yeah. So nice job there, Craig. If you want to send me questions for the Ask Avery segment, you can send me an email to mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com, mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. You can hit me up here on Facebook, any of the social media outlets. And if I don't know the answer, I will pass it along to someone who does. Well, speaking of Wixom Lake right there, Robert at Wixom Lake, the water formerly known as Wixom Lake. Jason, my friend, how are you? Thank you for stepping up. You're a good man. Hello, Brad. Good evening, David. Oh, I like your dog there, David. Oh, good boy. They were great questions, weren't they? So, Craig, you have asked some of the best questions on the Ask Avery segment yet. Very useful and good to clarify. So thank you, Craig. Oh, and the other thing on that, if you have a CPL, concealed pistol license, you can carry that in the woods. The way it's been described to me is your CPL trumps all fish and game laws. You can carry that concealed. If you have a license, you can carry your handgun concealed even during bow season. You can carry it after dark while you're tracking. But of course, you can't pull it out and use it to finish off the deer during bow season. Just happy to contribute because you're just that kind of guy. Hey, Craig. All right, so I wanted to talk about the fall colors. I am doing great, Chris. How are things in the great state of Kansas? TK, you watching? I also want to talk about a very interesting experience I had this week. But you can't use it. You can carry it, but you can't use it. Now, however, Tim, if it was gun season, you could use it to finish off the deer. You just can't use it to finish off the deer during archery season. Good evening, Matthew. How are you? Okay, you might have seen the pictures that I posted earlier in the week where I was up in a tree stand with my recurve in my hands, bow hunting for deer. That is something I have not done in years. I can't even tell you the last time I did it for a couple of reasons. Number one, when I was 100 pounds heavier, I wasn't really comfortable up in a tree stand. I wasn't really comfortable that the thing was going to hold me up. And I'm still not agile. I'm still not nimble, but I can get up in a tree stand now, a ladder stand. But I like ladder stands. And I'll tell you right straight up, I have an advertising relationship with Primal tree stands, and I love their Wraith 270 see-through blinds. After hunting out of the Primal ladder stand, I would have a hard time hunting out of anything else. It takes two guys to put them up. My son James and I put up a double stand, and we put up a single stand last Friday. But man, when you get them up, they're solid. It's got that jaw system that as you put it up to the tree, it reaches around. You ratchet down a strap from the ground level. It reaches around the tree and it grabs the tree. So it holds it in place while you get up there and put the straps on. And then it's got this truss system. I'll get to that in a minute. Rec broadheads. I'll write this down here because I want to follow up on this. I feel like you got some kind of seeing more bear in Midland County. Not being a bear hunter, is there a season in Midland County? There is. And did you hear about the bear that was killed on US 10 between Fraser and Mackinac Road last week? Easy to put up. Good question, Justin. The first time you put one up, because there is a jaw system and there is a truss system, you got to look at it and you got to look at the instructions and make sure you're doing it right. So there's a little bit of a learning curve, but when we put the second one up, boom, 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 we knew exactly what we were doing. So it wasn't bad at all. Tim, this came from a guy at church who farms over there. I couldn't find it online either. Tempted to buy one of the primals. You passed me the other day on Trumbull and McKinley and honked and loved your truck. Thank you. I appreciate that. Love the primal. Got one at the beginning of last year. Love that it doesn't have to touch the tree in the middle. That's what the truss system is about. You got your ladder like this. Okay, here's your tree, right? Here's your tree, and you got your ladder like this. And normally there's a cross piece that goes between them. With this truss system, there's no cross piece. And I'm telling you what, even my son James, who hunts out of a lot of tree stands, says it is the most solid stand he's ever hunted out of. Not a bad price either. So anyway, I found myself up in a tree with my recurve in my hand, sitting in a ladder stand, hunting for deer. And this is something I haven't done in years. And I enjoyed it. Oh, there we go, connecting. Oh, it's connected again now. Have you noticed, let me ask you, at your house, have you noticed that, no, it's not a one-man operation. Have you noticed at your house that the Wi-Fi lately has been hinky, squirrely? Like a lot of buffering? I thought it was just here at our house. And now everywhere I go, even businesses that have the same Wi-Fi I'm on, my sister-in-law's house, a lot of buffering. And I just wonder if it's because everybody's on the system now and nobody can use it. It's COVID. Yep, it's COVID. Ken says his is slow. Yeah. Anyway, so I can't say that I have my passion back, but I certainly have my interest and desire back. And I will, yes, Wi-Fi is a mess everywhere. Yes, I'm not alone then. Yeah, well, that's who I got, Richard, right? Spectrum. Has yours been squirrely too? Mine has been. Campus has had problems. Hey, over at CMU, your Wi-Fi is the least of your problems, John. I do plan on, okay, those, let me read it. Those that have a CPL and carry need to know caliber regulations for dispatching deer within that rules during the gun season. Good point. You couldn't do it with a 22. If you were carrying a 22, you couldn't do it. It's a very good point. Thank you, John. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, same down in Indy. Yours acts up between 4 and 11, which is when people are online, right? Thank you, Tony. Thank you. I've been working very hard to try to get my interest, to try to rekindle. Oh, this is interesting. Happens a lot this time of year. The line gets hot, then cools off dramatically at night with the cold temps creates water in the line. Sounds like Mike. It sounds like a man who knows what he's talking about. Yours works perfectly in your F-150. I don't like using the Wi-Fi in my Chevy because my cell signal is much, much faster than the Wi-Fi in my Chevy. But it's nice having it, right? I do intend, if the wind isn't too strong, it's supposed to blow like crazy again tomorrow. I do intend to be in a tree stand tomorrow evening. Certainly Friday evening when we got a straight west wind and it's supposed to be lighter. So I'm getting there. I'm not out buck hunting. However, if a big buck walked in front of me, would I take a shot at it? Sure. If a year and a half old buck walked by me, would I take a shot at it? No. You feel free to. I will not judge you at all. I encourage you to shoot what you want. I wouldn't shoot a year and a half old buck. My goal, my 20 years on the job, he knows exactly what you're talking about, don't you, Mike? My goal is to shoot a big doe with my recurve. I don't think the DNR would enforce caliber. Dispatching is different than hunting. Interesting, Stu, interesting. But keep in mind that the wardens enforce things based on the law, based on you, the way you treat them, and based on the day that they're having. I'll be sexist here and assume it's a male officer. If the male officer had a big fight with his wife as he was walking out the door, he's not going to be in a very good mood. And he might be more inclined, if you're a smart aleck or a jerk, he just might be more inclined to enforce him at the letter of the law. So I'm really happy to be back. Hey, listen, before we get too far, let's give away some Speedy Blaze. Now, we're not giving away the Speedy Blaze fire kits. We're giving away the Speedy Blaze Sparks. The Sparks are the fire starting they're not cubes because they're I'll call them squares. They are fire starting squares. And Ed Bolanowski says that he's got some buddies who are duck hunters, and he heard the story about these duck hunters ending up in the water. They had to go up on shore and they had to dry themselves out, and they would have had no way to start a fire had not they had the Speedy Sparks, which is a fire starter, in their boat. So I got thinking about this, and Ed and I decided, you know what? We want to encourage. Yes, Lori, you're right. A lady CO might think the same way. Exactly. Richard said they're not supposed to be that way, Mike. Richard, I understand that. But as a guy who grew up with my dad was a cop for 35 years. Many of my friends are cops and game wardens, and I was a volunteer conservation officer for many years. They're not supposed to be that way, but they're human beings. Game wardens, state troopers, deputies, city cops, they're human. So, Speedy Sparks are fire starting cubes. We'll call them cubes for lack of a better term. And I'm going to start carrying them in my backpack, in my truck, probably not in my boat so much. Let me go back to this. What kind of tree stands am I talking about? I'm talking about the primal tree stands. Very, very impressed with them. Now, they do advertise with me. I'm going to tell you that right up front. But I hope you know, if you know me, that at this point in my career, I only work with people who I respect the people and their products. And I think these are first rate. Dave, you know exactly what I'm talking about, don't you? Exactly. Primal ladder stands. Thank you, Brad. So you want to win some Speedy Sparks? Ed Bolanowski is standing by. Well, hey, Johnny. Forgive me, John. I don't. I should know this. Aren't you a judge now? I think you are a judge now, aren't you, Your Honor? And if not, I'm really embarrassed and I apologize, John. But yeah, it's nice to have you along with us. That's wonderful. Wonderful. Yes, Matthew, check out Speedy Blaze and check out Primal. Absolutely. John Cuval and I have fished together before. We fished the Tittabawassee before, up by Dow Dam, if I remember right. Can you take venison you harvest to Michigan brand and get sticks made? Excellent question, Tony. You can, but it has to be deboned. You've got to debone it yourself or take it to someplace and have them deboned. And then you can take your deer, bear, elk, turkey, or whatever to Michigan brand and they can process it. I was now a judicial referee. Well, congrats, my friend. Congrats, Your Honor. I still call you Your Honor. Congrats on a very prestigious career. Hey, John, my daughter is now a lawyer. She graduated from MSU Law School a year and a half ago, and she's now working down in Bloomfield Hills. So she's a lawyer. You took a deer to them, they made great sticks and sausages. Excellent. Okay, getting back to the Speedy Sparks. If you've won in the last couple of weeks, please hold off entering this contest so we can give somebody else a chance. You now have 3 minutes starting right now. 3 minutes on why you want to win some Speedy Sparks from Speedy Blaze, speedyblaze.com, speedyblaze.com. Make your comments right now. You've got 3 minutes. Nailed a walleye that had been killed by a... Your memory is better than mine is, John. 3 minutes on why you want to win some Speedy. Well, thank you, Deborah. There you go, Ace. That's a good one, Dennis. Dennis, my buddy Ace. Also another good one, Randy. There you go. We got some good comments coming in. Ed, you're going to have to make your decisions. Sweetie Sparks. Also, I want to talk about city wildlife. I want to talk about Barnett crossbows. And I want to talk about Nels Larson. Excellent comments coming in, my friends. 2 minutes on the Speedy Sparks. And then coming up here in just a couple of weeks, probably starting the first week in November, we will start giving away Michigan brand hams every week. We call it part of our ham for the holidays. On the bridge. On the Big Mac Bridge, eh? Excellent. Yeah, I was up there bear hunting. 2 minutes on the Speedy Sparks. 2 minutes on the Speedy Sparks. Make your comment about why you want to win some. I just saw that, Ace. In fact, well, you're the grandpa. And Denise is the grandma. Unless that's you writing, Denise. I am turkey hunting right now. I saw that, Ace, and I was going to text you and congratulate you. Welcome to the Grandpa Club. Welcome to the Grandpa Club. A minute on the Speedy Sparks. Yes, I'm not straight out turkey hunting, but I have a fall tag. And if a bird, I wouldn't shoot a hen, but if a male bird walks in front of me, I'm going to shoot him. Look at this. Scott Buttrick, our friend from the Forward Corporation, the Lumberjack Restaurant. He's in bird camp in the Western UP. Excellent, excellent. 30 seconds on the Speedy Sparks. 30 seconds on the Speedy Sparks. Tom, I understand. A lot of people love the Barnetts, but I got to talk about a comment I made yesterday, and I got crucified for it. 9,000 feet above sea level with a fire started with one-winded collar. Excellent, John. Excellent. 15 seconds on the Speedy Sparks. 15 seconds. You know what's coming up. Have you been with me before? You know. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. I'm going real slow because there's comments coming. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Contest is over. Yes, John, a good emergency tool. Plug your ears. It was a good one tonight, wasn't it? I thought it was a good one tonight. It warbled there a little bit at the first, but I found my groove. All right, Ed Bolanowski, who's going to win our Speedy Sparks for this week? What? Scott. I didn't know that. Oh, Jason won. Excellent. Scott Buttrick, our friend from formerly of the Forward Corporation, you retired the end of July. I did not know that. Congratulations. Congratulations. That's wonderful. Here is, this is good to see too. Ed Bolanowski picks Jason Gasta as the winner of our Speedy Sparks. Now, Jason, please private message me your mailing address, your shipping address, and I will hand it along to Ed. Let me tell you about Jason here for a minute. I know Jason personally. Jason is a member of my church. And I made a plea a couple of weeks ago that we needed some more trustees at our church to help maintain the facilities. Jason stepped up and volunteered. How cool is that? So, Jason, you're being rewarded for your generosity with your time with some Speedy Sparks. Ed Bolanowski, Sherm Hubbard, everybody at Speedy Blaze, we appreciate that very much. The website, speedyblaze.com. Speedyblaze.com. All right, Chris, get back to work, and we'll talk to you later. Hello, Greg. How are you this evening? I did not see the buck. Don't know what you're talking about. Going back to the Michigan brand ham, you tried venison ham last year. It was delicious. Excellent. Yeah, he's a good guy, Lori. He's a really good guy. Really good guy. All right, let me talk about a couple of other things. Barnett crossbows. I have nothing against Barnett crossbows at all. I don't have a dog in this fight at all. The reason Barnett crossbows came up was because somebody sent me a picture of a Barnett crossbow that had a cracked stock. And they said, Mike, do you know if this can be fixed? I don't know myself personally. I thought I was being a good guy by sharing the post and making the comment, I don't know if this can be fixed, but Barnett doesn't have the best reputation. I don't think you can argue that. I really don't. Now, I realize that there are an awful lot of people who have shot Barnett crossbows for years and had no problems at all and taken a lot of deer with them and enjoyed every minute of it. So I understand that. I get that. But overall, you can't argue, I don't believe, that Barnett crossbows don't have the best reputation, which is what I stated in the post. I realize a lot of people have had great luck with them. They are a great value. They're very inexpensive. So if you're looking for an inexpensive crossbow, you got to look at Barnett. I understand that. I get that. But man, did I get crucified for making that comment. I had people say, Avery, you shouldn't be making comments like that. You shouldn't be disparaging these products. You shouldn't be disparaging these companies. I get it. I understand, Larry. But again, I was not saying that, although I do agree that they don't have the best reputation. And like I said, I don't have a dog in the fight. Yeah, you missed it. You missed it, Cameron. Barnett is the high point of crossbows. So you're going to get haters and you're going to get people that like them. I guess my point is, I took the post down because of the negative comments that it was generating. I stand by what I said, that they don't have the best reputation. You can't argue that. But I took it down. Mark Stiles with the comment of the night. He says, I hunt with one also. And I also don't think they have the best reputation. Oh, I thought you said, Mark, I hunt with one also, and I also don't have the best reputation. Oh, that's right. Nobody can have an opinion anymore. Yeah. Well, hey, crossbows in general are something you want to be careful of because there's an awful lot of energy stored in those wheels and stored in those limbs at a very short power stroke. So anyway, I took the post down, not because I didn't stand by what I said, but it was getting too negative. Listen, at this point in my life, and this point in my career, at this point in the world in 2020, which has become known as the great crap show of 2020, and you know what I'm talking about, we don't need any more negativity. So if I had a post up there that generated negativity and negative comments, I just took it down. Not that big a deal to me. Like I said, I don't have a dog in that fight. I'm not going to worry about it. But speaking of crossbows, then Paul Phillips, who you know, in fact, I don't see him on here tonight, but he's often with us. One of the best extreme long range shooters in the world, rifle shooters, best extreme long range rifle shooters in the world. He came on this morning on the Wednesday morning live, and he said that he wanted to buy a Michigan-made crossbow. Well, immediately I said Darton. If you want to buy a Michigan-made crossbow, you got to look at Darton. Somebody else came on, buy what you want. Buy what you, there you go. Excellent, Michael. Buy what you want. It's your money. If you're happy with it, then be humble. Well, be humble. I wouldn't be humble. If it was my money and I bought what I want, I'd be proud of it, and I wouldn't let anybody change my mind. So Paul Phillips said he wanted a Michigan-made crossbow. I said it's got to be a Darton. And somebody this morning said Killer Instinct out of Frankenmuth. They said Killer Instinct is made in Michigan. I didn't think so, but I didn't want to argue it at the time. And I did some research after the fact, and they're not. They're made overseas. It's a Michigan-based company, but Killer Instinct crossbows, from everything I read, is made overseas and then shipped here. That is what, and I don't work with Darton anymore. I did for many years. I have nothing against them. I still love the company, the people, and the products. But one of the things I always respected about Darton is they are made 100% in America and 98% here in Michigan, if not 100% here in Michigan. So my advice to Paul is, again, if you're looking for a Michigan-made crossbow, you got to look at Darton. City wildlife. I have city wildlife on my topics here. Interesting. Justin says, I know, Louis. And Louis says Killer Instinct's made in China, not Frankenmuth. I knew that this morning. There's Tom Beecher right there. Tom Beecher would know. Now here, okay, let me take this one step further. And Tom, you're going to appreciate this. If my advice then to Paul Phillips, if your main criteria is a Michigan-made crossbow, you got to look at Darton. If you take that out of the equation and money is not an object and you want the best performing crossbow on the market, then you buy a Raven. It depends on what you're looking for. Paul's got some pretty deep pockets and he likes high performance. So again, Paul, if you're looking for the best performing crossbow out there and you have no price restrictions, get yourself a Raven. If you want a Michigan-made crossbow, get a Dart. Interesting comment here. I know Paul, tell him he's still young enough to pull back a compound. And you're probably pulling his leg, Cameron. But I don't like the shaming of people who use crossbows. Made in Wisconsin. Yes, Lori, I did hear that the ATA, the Archery Trade Association show, was canceled. And here's my prediction, Lori. And I've been saying this for a couple of years. And now I stand by it even more. The ATA show, the Archery Trade Association show, is dead. We will never see another one. It was dying on the vine the last few years. The archery companies did no longer used it as their show place to announce new products. They're announcing them all now ahead of time online. The Archery Trade Association show did no. I already talked to him, Ross. It served no purpose other than marketing, social, getting a chance to get together and see people. And now that it's been canceled, it'll never come back. Now, we've proven we don't need the in-person events. So Tom, you like that? Hey, I hope you know by now that I pretty much say things the way I think about them. City wildlife. I live in a medium-sized mid-Michigan city, but it's more of a town. And it's kind of on the edge of what people would consider up north. And I live in town, but I live right on the edge of town. Like I got a pond behind the house and you know, it's really nice. I came home the other night about just as it was getting dusk, probably about 7 o'clock, 7:15, and crossing the street in front of me is a great big, huge, big-bodied, heavy-racked, big-beamed, mature buck. And he was running. He was almost like he was running a doe that I didn't see. He runs across 1 yard. He runs across the street. He runs through another yard and jumps into the woods that are between the houses here. We've got fox around here. We've got coyotes around here. We got turkeys fairly close. And it made me think, isn't it? Here we go. Dart makes great products. You're still shooting a Dart in 3800, which is a great bow. At 79, Robert is 79 years old, and he'll shoot this until he can't draw the bow and hold it for a couple of minutes. You are a stud, man. You are a stud. And I'm being serious. I'm not being sarcastic. You are a stud. Wow. Good for you. Shoot what you want. Hunt with what you want. Hunt your hunt. But my point is, wildlife is so adaptable and adaptive. And if we don't hunt them, their populations boom. There become too many of them. And that's why we have to have hunting seasons. We have to have hunting seasons to keep the wildlife population under control. We have to have hunting seasons so we can generate license fees to pay for all these projects. And this year, more than ever, we need hunting season to get out and refresh our mind, our body, our soul, our spirit, our psyche. Breathe some fresh air. Get away from all the COVID crap. You don't have to wear a face mask when you're hunting. Get away from the COVID stuff. Get away from the election stuff. Get away from it all. Get away from all the everything. What is a city forest buck? Not sure what you're asking, Cameron. The way I was using it is just city bucks, city limit bucks. They come out, yeah. Tom, I got to tell you, man, it is so nice to have you along here with us. You're a good man. I miss working with you. A lot of people on here tonight know you. So it's nice to have you with us. And I hope things are going well for you. One last topic, maybe. I got to talk about the fact that I lost a friend here this last week, and a friend of the Outdoor Magazine show. In fact, a friend to many of you. No, I did not hear that deer license sales were up here this year, but I'm not surprised because last spring turkey license sales were through the roof. We're seeing a resurgence in people getting back to the basics, and hunting and fishing and shooting and trapping are one of those basics. Nels Larson, a man who was a very proud Navy veteran. He served in Vietnam. And the way most of us know him, many of us know him, he was the founder of the Walleye for Warriors event. Now, Nels started that event after being on the west side of the state. Hey, Scott, how you doing? He was on the west side of the state, and he fished in a tight lines for troop or something over there. And he said, man, we got to have something like that on the east side of the state. So he came back to Saginaw Bay, and he started the Walleye for Warriors. Now, it's technically called Walleyes for Warriors, but I can't make myself say walleyes. So I always say Walleye for Warriors. He started the Walleye for Warrior event. And over many, many years, he got an awful lot of veterans involved in that event. And he got a lot of non-veterans like me involved in the event. And I've always thought, yes, the event was designed for the veterans, but I feel like guys like me who never served got as much out of the event as the veterans did, because it always humbled me to spend a day on the water with these vets and hear their stories and give them the opportunity to get on the water. So Nels Larson, God bless your soul. And here's the cool part. Nels was a Christian man. So I know he's in a better place. He suffered on this earth, in this world, for a long time. He was tough. And he fought. But don't be sad for Nels, because Nels is in a better place. Be sad for Nels' family. Pray for Nels' family, because they're going to miss him terribly. But I couldn't let this Wednesday Night Live go without mentioning the passing of Nels Larson, founder of Walleye for Warriors, and just an all-around good guy. And so his legacy will go on, because Walleye for Warriors will go on. So he did something most of us never will. He started something that will continue after his death. If we can do that, I think we've had a pretty good run here on this earth, huh? So good for you, Nels. Good for you. All right, my friends, it is almost 7:45, which means I have blathered, bloviated, and talked for about as much as I have in me tonight. I don't know what you mean by that, Robert. He's fishing God's great waters. And you know what? He's healthy now. He's doing the victory lap, as we like to say. And you know what I'm talking about, Tim. All right, my friends. Listen, thank you for joining me on another edition of Wednesday Night Live. Jason Gasta, congrats on winning the Speedy Sparks. Private message me your address. I'll get him over to Ed Bolanowski and Sherm Hubbard. Oh, Johnny, what did you send me? Oh, yeah, that'll work. All right, my friends. Listen, you can always get in touch with me. Send me an email to mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com, mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. And the website, mikeaveryoutdoors.com. Thank you for joining me tonight on another edition of Wednesday Night Live.